Hi, everyone. My name is Demetria Zinga, and I'm an author and a podcast coach, and I'm happy to be your host. I created this podcast to encourage women entrepreneurs of faith on your business journey, and I would love for you to join me and my fabulous guests as we help you to discover how to gain kingdom business clarity and turn your profitable passion into a plan of action. You're listening to the Her Business Elevated podcast, episode number 41. Today's show is sponsored by Faith Media and Impact Podcast Coach, a service that supports women podcasters to boldly share their voices and their powerful messages through the medium of podcasting. So you can find out more about our podcast coaching services and courses by visiting impactpodcastcoach.com. I also would love for you to pick up your free copy of my Business Clarity Guide. If you've been spinning your wheels, it's time to gain clarity in your business. So pick up your free guide to help you figure out the path of your calling in life and business by discovering what your interests are, what you're good at, what you believe you were born for. So you can find that download. It's free for you, and you can find it in the show notes or by visiting herbusinesselevated.com. I'd also love for you to pick up your copy of the 7 Pillars to Online Business Success, which helps you discover the main principles and foundational blueprint for building an online business. Count this as your roadmap to creating the business that you've always wanted. So you can also find that in today's show notes as well as at herbusinesselevated.com. And today, my fabulous guest is Latonya Moore. Latonya is straight to the point and practical, and she offers large doses of encouragement while remaining realistic when maintaining a joy-centered life. She's a certified executive coach who helps women untangle their thoughts and needs so that they can make progress towards their goals and fully live the life that they desire. So if you're interested in learning about 3 ways that you can relax into your business life and create success, then stay tuned for this episode. And without further ado, let's hop straight into our interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Her Business Elevated podcast. I have a guest with me today that is a friend who's been with us before, and this is Latonya Moore. She is a certified executive coach who helps women to untangle their thoughts and their needs so that they can make progress toward their goals and fully live the life that they desire. So we're very happy to have you back, Latonya. Thank you for being here today.
I am thrilled to be here today. Thank you, Demetria, for the invitation. I love sharing with your community, so I feel very honored to be back here with you today.
We're so glad to have you. You have a lot of really awesome things going on right now that you are developing and building out, and it is awesome. I can't wait to hear more about it. But first, we're going to get to know you a little bit better, your personal pastimes, your family, some things that really make you happy, things that make Latonya tick. So who is Latonya?
Okay, so discovering Latonya has been a lifelong journey. Latonya is. I'm like, how do I start this sentence? Well, I am someone who has lots of passions. I'm a multi-passionate person, but everything that I enjoy, it really does come from my heart, and there are things that I guess I couldn't imagine doing because they play a big role in who I am. So my family, well, I didn't always have this family, so but they've been with me for feels like forever. So my husband and I will celebrate our 20th anniversary in a couple of weeks, actually, in March. Well, I don't know when this will go live, but in March, we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary. I have 2 daughters who are teenagers, entering young adulthood, actually.
Yes.
So like I said, it feels like they've been with me forever. So I really couldn't imagine a life without them because they've been here for nearly half of my life. So I'm very passionate about my family, like doing things with them, whether it's exploring new places, learning new things, just talking, because I learn something from my daughters all the time when they open their mouths and share. So that's a big part of my life. But then just for myself, when they're not around, I enjoy writing. I journal a lot. I write, create do creative writing. I was like, write creatively, however you want to say that. I love to write. I like to paint. So I paint
Wow.
just for myself.
Mhm.
So I recently moved into a space for my business. So I took some time to create some artwork to hang up. Outside of painting and writing creatively, I also like to just get out in nature. So you guys probably saw that comment, but I like to get out in nature. I love going for walks, whether it's in town or going to a trail just to be away. Outdoors, it's soothing, it's healing, it's just a great place to be. And then my faith is really at the core of all the things that I've listed, because I was designed by a creator. So it makes sense that I like to create. It makes sense that I enjoy being with my family and being out in his creation.
Yes. Yes. It sounds very serene. I like your life sounds, you're painting, you're journaling, and it sounds like you have a flow that's in connection with God. It just sounds like God is the center and you're relaxed in that. That's what it sounds like to me. So
yes, when I get off kilter or off like going every which way but the right way, I have to remind myself that I'm resting in him, and whatever will be, and it will be okay. Even if it doesn't feel okay, it ultimately will be okay.
Wow. That's powerful. It will be okay. I love that. And the last time we talked, you were sharing about your homeschool journey. You shared about your blog and your podcast. And we also talked about like pacing. So that's kind of what we're discussing now too, the pacing through life, pacing through your business. But you've had a couple of some twists and turns as of recently in your life and some changes. So can you kind of share with us what life is like today for you and the changes that have happened over the course of the year to bring you to where you are today?
Yeah, I would love to. So the last time I came on, I still have my blog, I still have my podcast, although I don't have new episodes as of 2023, but the content is still there.
Right.
Also, during that time, I worked full time. And I worked full time at a startup, so it's really demanding. If y'all hang out on the internet, watch the news, tech companies are up and down and all around.
Oh yeah, it's crazy out there. I know.
Yes, and I experienced some of the crazy. So I am returning. So it's like a new beginning. I'm returning to full-time entrepreneurship, which is right on time, like trusting in my next steps and trusting what God has for me. It doesn't feel like I was taken off guard, like, oh, I can't believe this happened. It's not like that. It's more like it was time. It's time. It was time for you to step into this next thing, which is a new thing, sort of, with more information and more skills. So I can do it well, because when I do things, I really do want to do them well, not in a perfectionist type of way, because it's different trying to make things perfect than just putting yourself out there and doing what you can with the tools and resources that you have, and making the most out of them.
Yeah. Oh, I wish you could say that again. Using the tools you have, make the most with the tools that you have and the resources that you have available to you at that moment. That's the whole idea of taking one step at a time, because that's all we have in front of us is the one step. And it's like having that faith in God that he's going to shine the light on our steps right in front of us, maybe not 50 feet in front, but 1 foot in front. So if we take that step, then the next step will come, and then the next step will come, and he'll shine light on every step and guide us through. But it takes faith. right? This is
It
like entrepreneurship
does.
is a faith journey and it can feel scary, but
Mhm.
God is with us. So
Yes.
I love that. Well, what do you do to help your clients?
Well, my clients, I don't know if I actually said, well, you said it at the beginning, but I want to share that I am a certified executive and life coach.
Uh-huh.
I primarily work with women and I help them untangle, untangle whether it's thoughts, ideas, expectations, responsibilities that maybe they should or shouldn't have.
Mhm.
Um, and provide them with clarity so that they can get a better idea of their next steps, because sometimes it can be hard to see what's next or which direction you should go in when you're in the middle of the thing, and when you have allowed so many thoughts, ideas, expectations to culminate, and it can just be difficult to break through the noise to determine
Right.
which one of these things should I do. So what I do is I sit in it with them. We have I'm gonna say conversation, because that's a good word to use. So, but it's not just a conversation. So it's like I'm hesitant to say conversation because it's not just a conversation of, oh, I just talked and that's that. But we are having a conversation that leads to action.
Mm.
It's not therapy. I want to be clear about that. I've been to therapy and I will go to therapy again if I need to. I also utilize coaching too for myself.
Mhm.
And the difference between the two is therapy, you're working through those past things that to help you see why you made the decisions that you made, or
Right.
what hurt you and you need to heal and work through the trauma, and just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But with coaching, we're in the present. So I don't have to know about all the things that led you to this moment. We're just focused on this particular moment
Mhm.
and the next steps to get to that future moment. And the future is, 2 seconds away. We're always working towards the future. So that's what I do.
Okay.
I untangle, I sit, I offer clarity so that they can get clear actions that we create together. I want to emphasize that we create together, not Latonya saying, hey, I listened to you and this is what you need to do. No, 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 you're not going to get that.
I love that. And I love that you distinguish the difference between coaching and therapy, and also the idea that coaching is working alongside your client as opposed to giving them the
Mhm.
mandate. It's what you do,
Yes.
you know,
Mhm.
and follow my guidelines and you'll be good. It's more of, like you said, a conversation. You're listening to them, you're hearing their side so that you can then help them to make a decision in the present. I love that you just you embody this presence of peace. And so we know that when we talk to you, you're listening, you really get it. Right. And so I think that's needful in coaches, because we need people that can help us by just listening. And sometimes
Mhm.
we will be able to say what's really deep inside of our heart. And
Mhm.
then it becomes untangled in the process of that conversation, what
Mhm.
we need to do, and just kind of unlocks the next step for us. And I like
Mhm.
that you said you help your client to create next steps. So there's a plan of action.
Yes.
So
We
important.
always leave with a plan of action. I never want to get off a call where they're like, oh, I feel lighter just because I talked to you.
Right.
And I'll come back next time and unload some more. We're not doing that. We
Right.
are, next time you're coming back and we're celebrating
Okay.
what you just did over the time period we've been away from each other.
Love that. Love that. So okay, what inspired you to get into coaching, and like how did you get to this point where you are today?
That is a great question. So I would say that I have a decades long experience in coaching, but I never saw myself as a coach. Like, this is what I'm fulfilled in, and this is what's going to allow me to take my kids to Chick-fil-A or whatever it is that they want to do.
Right.
So I never really saw it in that way. It was a natural thing that came to me, like my ability to empathize, my ability to actively listen to people, the ability to be able to sit with someone in their, I won't say muddiness, like it's not as clear. And I didn't realize that, oh, coaching is like I didn't realize coaching is like this real profession. So when I first heard of coaching, it was, my kids were little, and the first type of coach I heard of was a parenting coach. And I was thinking, oh, people will sign up for that. Okay.
Right.
And it just kind of, you know how something just comes across you and you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing. And I read it in one of the parenting magazines.
Right.
And I kind of forgot about it until recently. Like, when did you first hear of coaching? And then, but I guess it was always been humming, you know, in the background. Like, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And then through my own healing process, I was, I had multiple therapists at the same time, because it was a very hard place. So some of you, I don't know if you guys listened to the previous podcast, or I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after a car accident. So that was a lot. That was a lot of work. Okay. It's still work. I mean, but I'm just at a different place now. But with that, like I said, therapy is a lot of digging in the past, unlocking boxes that you didn't know were still stored in the attic, and having to get through it and not just say, let's push it back until 10 years from now. But as I was doing that, I was like, I need somebody that can sit here with me in the present and keep me in the present so I can keep working towards things that I want to do, because I know I need to go through this stuff in all these boxes, but I also have a full life ahead of me that I want to live now. And it was just kind of hard to manage it all by myself. So then I got my own coach. And then I've had business coaches, of course, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And those are just all the different ways I've used coaching. And so what led me to this point is that I have my own clarity about how I want to spend my time, and the type of people that I want to be with, and how many of the people I want to be with at a given time.
That's important. Know your limits. Right.
Yes. So that's really what led me here. Like, working for corporations is awesome. Lots of great benefits. I'm not going to ever knock that. But then at the same time, working in a smaller environment directly with clients is very fulfilling to me. So then I had to decide which one I like the most.
When you like the most. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, okay. So as you shared your story, you kind of mentioned how you've been able to sort of get yourself unstuck in some situations. So can you give us an example of how you may have felt stuck, at just an example of getting stuck in business and work, and then how you were able to like rise above that challenge? Because that's going to help us to figure out how can we get ourselves unstuck when we need to at those times in our lives.
Oh, I'm thinking, what type of example do you want? The first one that came to mind is social media. So I think that could come up for a lot of different people. As a small business owner, you might feel compelled, like it's necessary, it's a must for me to post on all other things, and I need to show up. I need to show parts of my life. I also need to show them that I am owning it in this lane. And it's just thinking about it. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so as a small business owner, you have, well, that social media bubble that I just described, but you also have all these other things that you need to do to make sure that your business is sustainable, that it can take care of you and your family. And maybe social media could be a means to the end, but then for some people, it might not, because it's such a mental hindrance. Like, I really don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to. Exactly. So I felt that way. I said all that because I felt that way before. And I actually felt that way when I was coming back into my business full time. Like, look, I've been a community manager for all these years and hanging out in the metaverse. And I just don't want to be out in the metaverse like that. It's just not fun for me. So I had to make a decision. And my decision was that initially my decision was, when I came back, I said, I will start with Facebook, just Facebook. I don't care about it. I know everybody's on Instagram, but I was like, I just don't care about it because I like to write and I need some space for all my words. And I don't want to write in the little squares, and I don't want to make graphics to put all my words on the graphic because it's not true to who I am. It's not authentic for me. So Facebook, here I come. And it's been so fun. It's been very fun just posting there. I don't have to think about it. I don't necessarily have to use a scheduler, because when something comes to mind, I just open the app up because I've already decided that I like you. I like our relationship, and no one expects for me to be there 24/7, because I let them see that I'm using it as a real human. So they see stuff the day of when it's happening, and I can write a story for it because it happened. I had time to process it. And here's a lesson in my processing of the thing. And they appreciate it. And so I decided that that's how I would show up on Facebook. If it's a graphic that I could cross post to Instagram, you'll get a little love. But if it's not something that I could easily cross post without doing extra steps, well, y'all might not see me on Instagram for a little while.
I love that. That's such a logical approach, actually. I mean, it makes sense, right? Pick the platform that you connect with the most, that is the least amount of resistance, that gives you the most, feedback, that gives you also that feeling of organic, like it's natural and it doesn't take a lot of work. And I love that you're so honest with, I don't like the Instagram squares and I don't want to fit all of my content in that. And I don't really want to be like, for me, I have a TikTok and I've been trying it out, but I just don't like it. That's not my platform.
And you don't have to do it, and it will be okay.
It will be okay.
Yeah. And so that's a real practical example. And what I'm working through right now is, how do I want to show up on video? Because this podcast is for business owners and women who are elevating their business. And we know that video and live streaming is a thing. It does, help bring awareness, but it came back to that. I don't feel like doing public videos for people I don't even know if they are really interested in what I have to say. And yes, they probably could find me and then they're like, oh, I saw your video, but I already have other content that they could do that with, from the podcast to the blog to going to old stuff on those channels that I mentioned before. So what I'm going to test out, going to another platform that I like, I'm going to test out some Marco Polos with some group Marco Polos with people I know that are engaged in what Join the Ordinary has to offer. And it's a test. And if it's something good, I can download it and I can post it to the other places. But when I initially share it, it'll be with the people who are there in mind. And then the other folks just get to benefit from it.
Exactly.
And I feel like uploading it.
I love that approach. I love that. And that's part of what we all have to do is sit down and figure out what's not working. What is the frustration? Where's that coming in? And how can we just sit down, logically think through the process of what's working, what's not, what do I like, what I don't like to do, and take some of those things off the plate that don't really make that significant impact in our business. And so that's what you've been working through. And I think that helps so many of us like take a load off. Like we really don't have to be everywhere all the time in all the places. So that's so helpful. So that's one of your frustrations. How about your clients? Have you had some of the same kind of issues come up over and over again when you work with people? What are some of their frustrations and how do you help them to overcome their challenges?
Yeah, I would say the biggest frustration that I have experienced, especially coming out the pandemic, are women who struggle with self-confidence. Like that's the biggest thing. Being confident in the decisions that they are making, being confident when they say, I don't want to show up this way anymore. Yeah. And it can be hard to navigate if you're worried about how your family or those people who have been, whether they're friends or family, who've been in your life for so long, and now you're saying you don't want to do these things anymore, you don't want to show up this way anymore, that you want to have a new identity for yourself, and you want this new identity for yourself because you're chipping away stuff that's allowing you to see who you really are, and you're answering some very hard questions, and you realize, oh, I don't want to do this, and this isn't me, and all the things that they've been carrying along that they didn't have to are the things that have allowed their self-esteem and their confidence to be chipped away at, because it's weighing them down and it's not their natural, authentic being. So how can you really be confident in something that's not really you?
Good question. It's about finding that place where we take a deep look into our soul, into our heart, and ask God, what am I supposed to be doing right now? How do you want to use me in this moment, in this time, with the people that are around me right now? And who do you want to bring into my space? Who should I be serving? And this energy you've given me, how do I utilize that more effectively so I'm being the best I can be, do the best I can do while I have breath in my lungs? So I just feel like that's what we're here for, to serve, but to also take a deep breath and to serve ourselves by giving ourselves permission to rest. Yes. And it's so important to honor our bodies, honor our minds, and just take a rest. Sometimes we just need a break, And so I love that you are helping your clients to just, learn to see what it is that we're supposed to be doing and to feel better about those gifts and talents, though that purpose that God has placed inside of us, and to be encouraged that we can do what we're supposed to do. We don't have to compare with other people. We don't have to compare. So important. Yes. So I know you offer coaching. Are there some other products or some particular services you have, maybe some workshops you have coming up, or what do you have available?
Yeah, so there you have a few options. You don't have a million options, but you have a few options. So each month I offer free journaling workshops. I shared early on that I love writing. So it's only natural that I'm offering journaling workshops. Yeah. And it's been really cool. It's something that started in 2023. and we're going strong, and it will continue throughout the year. So if you are not a journaler, like, I don't write, I don't like it, why? It's the place for you. You need to just come on and join us, because it's not about you being a writer. It's just about you giving yourself permission to explore. And it's very freeing. So that's the journaling workshops. If you go to jointheordinary.com, the workshops are listed on the homepage. You just scroll down a little bit and you can click and register. Okay. Also, I offer a bi-weekly. So I am a homeschooling mom, although some days I don't feel like it anymore because I have a daughter that's graduating this year. Wow. And my other daughter's in 10th grade, and she utilizes some of the online academies. So it's just like, oh, I just need to ask you a few questions here and there. But I am a homeschool mom, and I was in it for, a good decade until they became even more independent. So with that being said, I offer a bi-weekly Thriving Homeschooling Mom group coaching. So you might want to be in a community with other people who have some of the same challenges that you have. But even in the group coaching setting, it's guided. So you're going to come into it with if you don't have anything to talk about, it's okay. Because when you come in, I have something for you. But in the process, when something does come to you, you are able and you will be able to receive coaching on your thing while we're in the setting together. So that's something that I'm really excited about. And those are starting, well, I guess it'll still be winter, spring, but it starts in March. So I would love for you guys to check that out.
Awesome. Okay. So our homeschool group coaching sessions. And then you also have the free monthly journaling workshops as well, yes, which I'm assuming that's going to help us untangle the things that we've been wanting to figure out, and then maybe we can get some breakthroughs while we're journaling. Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that's how it goes. And of course, there's always individual coaching. So I offer executive coaching for business owners and leaders. So if you're interested, or, if you are like, I know that I need something individual that's going to help me with my business, that's also an option, along with life coaching.
Wonderful. You offer the whole gamut. So that's great. And I love that you're doing this. I just feel so good about what you're offering and how many people you're going to be helping this year and beyond. So thank you for that. And also, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Right before we get into how our listeners can reach you, I just want to know if you have any specific words of encouragement for today and for this time, for now, for our listeners, for women entrepreneurs, coming from different backgrounds, but just really feeling like I need some encouragement. I need something to keep me going in this journey because it's hard sometimes. So what encouragement do you have for us?
Well, I want to encourage you to remain consistent. Just keep showing up for yourself. You might not see the payoff 5 minutes after you do it, but you just don't know what's going to come around the corner. So don't give up on yourself. Remain consistent in the work that you're doing. If you believe that it's what you're supposed to be doing in this moment, keep going.
Yes.
Just keep going. And ultimately, it's going to be okay.
That's so good. Keep going. It's going to be okay. Thank you so much. Latonya, tell us how we can reach you.
Well, you can find me on the web at jointheordinary.com. If you go to jointheordinary.com, you'll find the podcast, you'll find links to the workshops, and you can also book your complimentary coaching consultation there is a link on the main page. So if you're like, I just want to sit down with you and hammer out something, I offer complimentary consultation coaching calls, and
Wow.
you can find that link also on jointheordinary.com. And as I shared, I'm mostly hanging out on Facebook, but if you are an Instagrammer, you can follow me on Instagram too. Join the Ordinary on Facebook and Join the Ordinary Mom on Instagram.
Awesome. So there's lots of ways to reach you, and you offer so much. There's no excuse because you're offering complimentary sessions. So this is beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today, Latonya, and for your help in the entrepreneurial space.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This was such a beautiful episode with Latonya Moore, and I hope that you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed our conversation. So to recap on this week's takeaways, Latonya shared with us that we should be true to ourselves, that we can share authentically online without burning ourselves out, and we can find platforms that work the best for us. She also says to use what we have. You can do what you can and make the most of what you have with the tools and the resources that are already available to you. And lastly, don't give up. Because in life and business, we have to remain consistent, keep showing up for ourselves, and remember that everything is going to be okay. Be sure to reach my guest, Latonya, at joyintheordinary.com and find her on all her social media handles as well. And that concludes this week's episode. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and until next time, to your online business success.